Welcome back to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm your co-host and co-founder, Aaron Breitman, and very excited for today to welcome in two guests to preview Rutgers-Seton Hall this week. Can't believe it's already here, and to talk about a very exciting event for Rutgers fans to get to know about Pat Lawless from Front Office Sports and John Fanta, well known to college basketball fans and actually going to call the game on Sunday. John and Pat, thanks so much for being here.
It's great to be with you, Aaron. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, Pat, this is your second year running a banquet for Seton Hall and Rutgers before the game. Talk a little bit about what happened last year and just your inspiration for this event.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's amazing that it's 2 years now. We wanted to create something special for this rivalry. Me being a Seton Hall graduate, my partner CJ Nobile being a Seton Hall graduate, John being a Seton Hall graduate, and just growing up within this New Jersey basketball culture, this rivalry deserves something like this. And to see it all come together like it did last year, John can attest to this. The crowd, the Rutgers faithful coming out, the Seton Hall faithful coming out, hearing those stories dating back to the 70s to most recent, with guys like Geo Baker this year. It's an amazing thing, and we're excited that year two. We're excited. So yeah.
And John, you're emceeing the event for the second straight year. Just talk about in terms of your involvement and what kind of inspired you to be part of this as well.
The rivalry inspired me, and it inspires everyone who partakes in it to be able to storytell and engage with the fans, hear their questions. One thing about New Jersey college basketball, whether it be Rutgers or Seton Hall, whether it be the Scarlet Knights or the Pirates, although they have so many differences, Aaron and Pat, is that they're smart fans. They're smart fans. They're very engaged. They get it. They follow their team. They've seen the highs. They've seen some tough lows, but they're better because of it. And that's what brings both these fan bases together on Friday night, and it makes it really fun because as much as there's a dislike, and when we get closer and closer to 6:30 Eastern time on Sunday night, there's no love lost, and each fan base doesn't care if there's blood. They want to get a win. They want to get a win at all costs. One thing about Friday night and the second annual banquet, and the reason why this banquet is back is because I think Pat and CJ and his group saw that there's a mutual respect and there's actually a love factor there. As much as there's hatred, there's a love factor between Rutgers and Seton Hall fans. You know why? Because they need each other for the rivalry to be at its best. Rivalries are good for sports. And the Garden State Hardwood Classic, that trophy fits New Jersey with the boardwalk, with the pieces from the boardwalk, the pride factor, the coaches, the emotion of it. Shaheen Holloway knows this rivalry. He played in it. Steve Peichel has embraced this rivalry. For a rivalry to be a rivalry, you have to have two fan bases that, one, hate each other on game day, but two, understand that them playing one another is great for all parties involved. And
I'll tell you what, Aaron, let me just interrupt real quick. Now you know why we hired him for a year. You know what I mean? The second year, John gets it.
Absolutely.
I think he's back now. But yeah, now you understand completely why we're running it back with John.
Sorry about that, guys, and I appreciate that, Pat. It's very humbling to do it, and it's an honor to do it because I know how much this game means to people. It's the Super Bowl on the calendar, and my last point was this. This game defines passion. The people around it define passion. And when we have rivalries, that's good for sports. And these two fan bases understand that them getting together for one night, it is so Jersey. We get together, we break bread, we eat pasta, and we talk about basketball. What is better than that?
Excellent point, John, and Pat as well. And me being the lone Rutgers representative on the call, I can tell you that this game is always circled on my calendar as well. And I have some fond memories of when I went to school and was a student for this game as well, dating myself a couple decades ago. But Pat, why don't you, in terms of who's going to be there representing Rutgers and Seton Hall, former players, discuss the panel and also John's role. And also, I know Jerry Carino, obviously, who both fan bases are very familiar with, also a Seton Hall grad, but still love him. Just talking about the lineup you have for this great event.
A lot of pyre love for sure. No, so yeah, Jerry will be back, and I think he does a great job. And John did a great job, telling the audience of just the role that Jerry plays within this rivalry, right? Jerry's storytelling ability is incredible. And the fact that he can pull stories, John, you saw it last year, just at the banquet, he was able to pull stories from, the Phil Sellers days to all the way up to Quincy Doobie days. It's incredible. And he really helps bring that, this event full circle. And yeah, so Jerry will be back. Obviously John's emceeing. And we'll kind of just go, first panel will be Dan Calandrillo, Seton Hall legend, John Morden, another Seton Hall legend, Austin Johnson, who recently just got his first debut in the Big Ten Network, and obviously was a player himself, Rick Datica, another, Rutgers legend. And then the second panel, we're going to start things off with Ike Obiagu, Seton Hall's all-time block leader. Jerry Walker speaks for itself, awesome Pirate, Geo Baker, and then Hollis Copeland. So we're really, really excited about those two panels. I think we did a good job this year of, tapping into different, time periods. And I think each of those guys will have, their own thing to offer to this rivalry.
I love the panel idea, and you've gotten, great names last year and also this year. So I think that really adds a lot of value to everything else you guys already talked about in terms of just the pageantry of the banquet and, the morale that both fan bases bring to it. John, just obviously you cover a lot of college basketball, in all the different venues that you've been to. I know you're a little bit biased towards this rivalry, but how does the RAC specifically rank, not only on its own, but just, for this rivalry in particular?
It's as good of a venue for a rivalry game in college basketball. Bar none. Bar none. The RAC, Jersey Mike's Arena, will always be the RAC to everyone involved, is in a class of its own when it is filled, when that student section is brewing, and when a visitor comes in of some substance, like Seton Hall is on the other side. There is a genuine dislike for the visitor, whether it be Indiana or Wisconsin or Ohio State or Iowa, or in this case, Seton Hall. And there's an extra level of hatred for them as the visitors on Sunday night. And it's not a bad hatred. It's what sports are about. And that building will be on fire on Sunday night, but it's on fire anytime Seton Hall is going to come into it, because they feel that they own the state of New Jersey and they'd like to show it. Just like last year when Seton Hall welcomed them into Newark, there was a vibrant atmosphere there in Newark. So here's the thing. When you have a campus building, it changes everything for you because you can fill it with all your people, all your students. I've heard the rumors and the talk that Seton Hall had received a total of 50 tickets for the game. I think that only adds fire and fervor. You want to find a ticket, go in the secondary ticket market. Look, it's Rutgers building. It's their house. They can do whatever they want, and that's what they're going to do, and they're going to fill it, and it's going to be wild. So for me, it makes my life as easy as pie Sunday night, because when Caleb McConnell hits a big shot, or in the event Alamir Dawes hits a big three, either way, the crowd reaction tells the story. There's nothing I need to say that's going to be better than the roar of the crowd. And how many times do you guys watch a broadcast and the broadcaster's trying to talk over the crowd and you're like, let the crowd just go crazy? That's my goal always in these games, knowing that moment, knowing when to let the crowd tell the story. Sunday night's the prime example of that. I know my life's easier because the Rutgers faithful are going to make the RAC the toughest place to play in college basketball on Sunday night.
Well, John, wise beyond your years as a broadcaster already, and that's why you're one of the best in the business already. Well said in that regard. Pat, for the banquet, if you're a Rutgers fan listening, a Seton Hall fan listening, how was the kind of split last year in terms of fans? And I guess how is the setup in terms of seating and all that?
Sure. Yeah, John. I mean, you can hold me accountable here. I think it was a 50-50 split, honestly.
Yes.
I thought,
Yes.
and you're hearing a lot of Seton Hall, people running the event, but I thought we did a good job of having a good amount of Rutgers representation. And I thought there was plenty of Rutgers love. I thought there was plenty of Seton Hall love. So I think it's split 50-50. The setup, yeah, it's, we got, like John pointed out perfectly last year, we got basketball, pasta, drinks. It doesn't get better than that, right? The atmosphere is awesome. It's a great family event. And it just, if you're a hoop head or if you just like a good time, it's a perfect venue for that. And I think for an outsider, what I found, some of my friends that didn't really know that much about even, Rutgers or Seton Hall, this was an event to find out, hey, what am I missing out on? So it was a great event for that. And yeah, of course, if you're a big Rutgers fan, to hear from Geo Baker, to hear about his past 5 years there and what his thoughts are on this current team, that it's a great opportunity for that. And then to hear from a guy like Hollis Copeland to get perspective on what Rutgers was like way back when, and what are his thoughts now. So for a Rutgers fan, I think it's a dream. And then I haven't even mentioned this, and this hasn't been released yet. We're raffling off 4 tickets to the game. So, like John mentioned, tickets are tough, like very, very tough to get to this game. Even the secondary market, the tickets are really high. We're raffling off 4 tickets. There's going to be a charitable component that we'll announce in a bit. But yeah, so you have a chance to go to the game too if you get the raffle. So yeah, no, I think it's a dream for a Rutgers fan. I think it just really gives perspective as to why you are supporting the Scarlet Knights.
That's great. We got breaking news from both of you on this podcast now with the limited tickets given to Seton Hall and now 4 tickets being raffled at this great event. And Hollis Copeland, I love he's there. He's definitely an underappreciated player, I think, from newer fans that don't realize how great of a player he was in Rutgers history. Just going back to the personalities involved, John, you obviously know Kevin Willard extremely well. Love your rapport with him. His approach to the rivalry, last year he flat out said he didn't like it. Now you have Shaheen Holloway coming in, who you know well is also. How do you think the rivalry is going to, will the personality shift of this rivalry a little bit with Holloway now at Seton Hall? I feel like he's going to embrace it, being a player that played Rutgers 2 to 3 times a year back in the Big East. What are your thoughts on that? And I guess in terms of the matchup, Pikel versus Holloway now moving forward.
Well, let's start with Pikel, who, because of the job that he's done elevating Rutgers, this rivalry has really emerged again, and the Scarlet Knights have shown that they're a national power, which, beating Indiana over the weekend, they showed, 1, they got one of the toughest home courts in college basketball, and 2, that they have enough, that they do have enough to be a big dance caliber team this year. On the flip side, for Seton Hall, we saw them begin to elevate a little bit before Steve Pikel got to Piscataway under Willard. The fact is, Willard became very outspoken as his tenure went on. He made a lot of headlines. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind. That's how he was. I think Shaheen Holloway will embrace this rivalry naturally more because he did play in it. But Shaheen Holloway adds a different level of intensity to it because he played in it, because he knows what's on the line, and because he knows he will hear from Rutgers players if he loses. So this is good for the rivalry. Holloway being in the rivalry and coaching in the rivalry is good. And Shaheen has said on record several times that he will not be afraid to play anyone. So for anyone concerned about the future of Seton Hall Rutgers, don't be. The rivalry is going nowhere. In fact, it's only going to get better. I love this storyline for the rivalry. I think Holloway, this is really an interesting week for Seton Hall and Rutgers. Rutgers now gets tested against Ohio State. How do they handle that? How do they ride the high off the Indiana win? Can they now start a run of their own? For Seton Hall, they greatly need a cupcake because of the schedule they've been playing lately and because of the losses that they've taken. They're going to play a Division II team this week in Lincoln. That's actually a not poorly placed game in terms of timing because it gives them a chance to figure out what they've been doing wrong. and then to try to put their best foot forward, because Aaron and Pat, Seton Hall needs to win on Sunday. Their resume is in great need of a bolster, but guess what? You're going into a hornet's nest because Rutgers, it would behoove them to win this game too and keep on building. Keep building up that resume and get a nice non-conference result for your resume. So for me, like Holloway adds a lot. Where these two teams are in their respective seasons adds a lot. Rutgers in a better shape right now than Seton Hall, but it's the beauty of this game, right? It means something for both teams because of where it falls on the schedule. It's not too late in the schedule that it gets thrown out the window. Both these teams need the game. Both these teams dislike each other, and nobody's more passionate for Seton Hall basketball than Shaheen Holloway. That adds a different dimension to this showdown.
Great points, John. I can't believe we have to wait 6 days for this game now.
I know.
This is great. So, Pat, why don't you give us the details, everything that fans need to know to attend this banquet? We'll obviously include it in the post, and I'll put it on social media as well. But for anyone that's interested in attending, how do they do so, and any other details you want to add?
Sure. So it's going down this Friday, 7 o'clock to 11 p.m. We are already halfway sold out with tickets. Tickets are flying, so I would assume they're going to sell out pretty quickly. So I would get on that as soon as you can. It's in the link in our bio for both Twitter and Instagram at @TFrontOffice, and you'll have the link in this article. Jerry Carino did a fantastic job at the Asbury Park Press, really laying things out for additional details. But yeah, it's this Friday. Super excited. We gave John the rundown. John's ready to crush it again. And I also want to have, I haven't mentioned it yet, just to have John be the MC for the event, but then also call the game on Sunday just adds a whole nother element to this. So John, congratulations, man. I'm so excited for you. I think that it just goes to show just the hard work that he's put in and that we're rocking with the right guy. So come see John, do what he does best. Get some pasta, get some, let's talk some basketball. Let's drink a little bit. Let's have a good time.
That's awesome.
Well, Pat,
go, John.
Aaron, if I could butt in, I actually eat pasta better than I can talk. So that.
Me too. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Well, pasta's good for this week too, because it is a marathon of a week. We all have to pace ourselves in terms of getting ready for this game. And to end it, I wanted to ask you both, Pat first, just in terms of this game for you as a college basketball fan. What are you looking at in terms of the keys for Rutgers-Seton Hall in this matchup?
Sure. Yeah, I wonder which Seton Hall team shows up, right? Like I was watching that Seton Hall team, and obviously, we'll see, the differences between a Memphis and a Rutgers, but that Seton Hall team against Memphis, that's a talented team, right? There's no question that Seton Hall is talented, right? They have the talented pieces. Now, can they use that and use that talent in the right way and bring some pace to it, bring some steadiness to it, right? Are they able to deal with the insanity that is the Rutgers Athletic Center, right? So I'm curious of what Seton Hall team shows up. And I think a huge part of them having success on Sunday is bringing pace, being steady, being able to deal with that crowd, right? So I think that's really the keys to success for Seton Hall. And I think Rutgers is, hey, keep doing what you're doing, Like I'm not going to give anything too detailed there. I think it just, keep at this pace. Having guys like Mawat even step up like he is, they're headed in the right direction. So I think it's for Seton Hall. It's, playing with some more pace, and Rutgers just keep it up. Simple as that.
Great points, Pat. And I think it is interesting too. I mean, the second half of that Indiana game, John, was the first time that Rutgers had their full complement of players on the court together. And it was only for a little bit as well, just with foul trouble and all that. I know it's early in the week for you. You're still studying for this game. Seton Hall has lost big the last two trips to the rack under Steve Peichel at Rutgers. What are your keys for this game coming into a Sunday?
3 keys to this game. Number 1, it could be a big night for Cliff. I look at this matchup, and one thing that Seton Hall has struggled with is bigs who can produce, who can be physical, who can lock in. And that's what Rutgers has. Rutgers has that, and they've got that in more ways than just their big man. But I do look at it and think to myself, like, one common theme with Seton Hall recently is Ike Obiagu or Romaro Gill. They've had a rim protector. They don't have that necessarily with this team. So look for Cliff to have a big night on Sunday. Number 2, backcourt management. Backcourt management is huge. I mean, for Rutgers, they've got it. And when they have their full complement of players, Paul Mulcahy might be the most underrated player in a backcourt in college basketball. He makes things happen. He distributes. Who's going to do that for Seton Hall? Will the real Kadari Richmond show up? I don't know the answer to that question. Only he knows the answer to that question. That's number 2 to this one. And then number 3, like, who is scoring the basketball more efficiently? Because both these teams are capable of defending. I would say Rutgers' offense is in a better place at this moment than Seton Hall's. So how are the Pirates generating offense? Because they really have struggled lately of just being able to have a flow, being able to run things that are successful. And Rutgers now has their full complement of players. And Caleb McConnell could be the best player on the floor in this game. Will Seton Hall have an answer for all that, and can they handle this atmosphere? Those are my 3 keys. It's what I'm looking for.
John and Pat, thank you so much. Excited for you, Pat, for Friday. The Banquet, 7 to 11 on this Friday at Cafe Vittoria in Nutley. Get your tickets. I'll have the information in the link here. And check Pat online as well. And then, John, can't wait to hear your call on Sunday. And, I hope it's a good environment for you as a broadcaster. And obviously, respectfully, I hope, Seton Hall doesn't have a great night. But, John, just wanted to say, I hope it's a great environment for you as a broadcaster. But I respectfully hope that your team Seton Hall does not win.
Hey, on Sunday night, I'm broadcasting the game. Whoever wins the game. It's not, it's not. I'll be calling it in the middle, and it's Rutgers-Seton Hall. I can't wait.
Well, you're the consummate professional, and thank you both. And good luck on Friday, not on Sunday.
Thanks, Aaron.
See you guys. Right.